6 o'clock. Call to order the regular school board meeting for Monday, June the 8th. With that, we'll move into the approval of the agenda, but I would like to amend the agenda and add action item 5.6, a KSB statement on diversity. Is there a second? There's a motion to adopt, to amend the agenda. A second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right. Now, that was to amend the agenda. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second? It's been moved and second that we approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Justin, sorry. All right. Next item on presentation is the budget hearing. Lauren.
Yes. Okay, Lori Wilson gave this information to me on republishing the Parent Education Program Fund. In the past, our fee was always $25,000, so we only budgeted $25,650 to cover it. And then we were later found out that the fee had increased to $1,000. So we need to republish to be able to have the budget authority of an additional $1,000. So that's all it is, really. This is up with the Parents Educator Program. Those funds come through the state, the PAT, and some federal.
We go through Keystone.
Yeah.
They provide that to the rest of the
That's their fee. It wasn't like no. They raised it 1,000 after the budget. So that.
Aaron, you're up. Sorry.
All right. Thank you, Justin, for sharing this for me. Just got my new computer uploaded and just having a little coordination issue with some of my documents. So yeah, just wanted to share a quick project update for the high school bond project. So I know we've all had a lot of meeting time lately, gone through a lot of the big issues, so shouldn't be anything too new to go over. So I've updated the budget portion in the top left-hand corner to the current column reflects the design development budget that was presented at the special board meeting a few weeks ago. And again, the forecast column will come into play as construction starts and a GMP is executed and we start tracking change orders and use of contingencies. So substantial completion dates, utilities and demos. So I have activated the forecast column that has begun and is planned to be on track with completing the utility relocation work prior to the start of the school year. One small change, well, a change in the schedule, not really a change in what the schedule plan was, but at SD, I think there was just an error with how some dates were tying together. The West Campus renovation is actually scheduled to happen after the Learning Center is complete, because obviously the West Campus will need to relocate to the new Learning Center. So the West Campus work will actually start in January of 2020 and finish as it shows here, or 2022 and finish in May after the Learning Center is complete. So other than that, those are the substantial completion dates for the separate areas. Upcoming key deliverables for the project. We have the 50% construction document package will go to McCown Gordon for kind of a check of pricing at the end of June, on June 29th. And so McCown Gordon will go through that one last time prior to sending it out to bid, just to make sure that the design is following all the assumptions that we've made up to this point, and the pricing is keeping on track with the design development pricing. That's also a point where we could discuss some options that we've been tracking to become part of the project if it looks like the contingencies are holding. Then the next deliverable is the 100% construction document package from DLR to McCown Gordon to send out to bid for the final GMP for the overall project. And that is on August 4th is when those drawings will be sent for pricing to McCown. McCown will turn around, put those out on the street for bids, and then we'll assemble that for a board package, GMP board package deliverable on September 16th. So those are kind of the upcoming deliverables there. Got a bunch of key milestone dates, really focusing on this summer package. So as you guys know, the McCown Gordon has mobilized to the site. The gas and internet services have been disconnected from the entire campus until the new services are rerouted. Electrical is still connected and will be a switchover later in the summer. The demo of the choir and district office buildings will start tomorrow. So should be an exciting day. They'll have their big equipment out there and start bringing those buildings down. So on target there. And then starting the beginning of August 3rd will be when they start reconnecting the relocated utilities. The next milestone date is the Board of Education GMP approval. So that is after the project team has come back before the board, presented the McCown Gordon's requested GMP amount and approval on that, which will allow them to start writing subcontracts and mobilize for the remainder of the project and the Learning Center construction. So footings and foundations on the Learning Center is in October 14th. And then you can see the later dates of moving into the new Learning Center in December of 21, the West Campus, and starting the Fitness and Wellness Center. So any questions on milestone dates or deliverables? All right, so outstanding issues or changes, really not a whole lot here that I don't think the board is already aware of. As I mentioned, utility disconnects have started, and partial utilities are down to the campus currently. The abatement work on the administration and the choir building was completed. So all that work was done to allow for the demolition work to start. The fuel station, the underground storage tank was removed, and they did not find any additional soil contamination or leakage. So that was good news, and they got that all filled back in and brought back up to grade. So again, I left on here just listing the different soft costs that are in the budget and being paid for by the district during this summer work. And I am working with Lauren and his staff tracking and tracking all those costs and getting those invoices paid as they come. Added on here, furniture design. So we had a kickoff meeting with Scott Rice Office Works last week regarding the furniture and just kind of putting a schedule and a plan in place, assembling a team of people from the district side that will be involved in those meetings as they go along. Really this first few months is just going to be focused on very general types of furniture that the district is interested in, and Scott Rice will do a trial run of furniture which they will give to the district to set up and use and experiment with to see what works and what doesn't work before start making selections for this specific project. So that'll start here in the fall semester and will be a trial classroom for the teachers to test out. Midcoast Sports, this was just something that kind of came up. We're still working through a little bit. Midcoast Sports pathway to the building and what exactly they need to move and relocate for their fiber lines to film athletic games. But it's going along pretty well. We just need to coordinate a few last things with them, make sure that works right. School equipment matrix, again, just keeping everybody in the loop that we're working on, Mark and Lauren and Mitch and DLR working together on all the equipment that the school currently owns or plans to purchase, and inventorying that and making sure that it's all coordinated with the drawings for the new learning center. And then just gym and multi-purpose room, we all had our special board meeting and got approval from the board to add that into the project, so that will become part of the base project bed. So other than that, just we're having OAC meetings with the design and construction team once a week, and making site visits for watching how the progress for the summer work is moving along. So it'll start looking like a lot more action come tomorrow. So any questions?
Does anyone have any? Sorry, this is so loud. Does anybody have any questions for Aaron on this? We also, I don't know if I turn my volume down. Aaron, and also I kind of sent something out too as well to tie in with her conversation here. I mean, we went through the design development and had a couple meetings on that, ironed out some things. Just trying to circle back with the board to see if there's any input on how that went or suggestions. I know some of that information came out a little bit tight to review, but we're getting down to the very end, and there's going to be some finished decisions, and they've provided some of that information. Lauren and the team have got a lot of decisions they'll be making, and not necessarily all that's going to be coming back to the board. I mean, I think if people have concerns about any of the information that was presented in the design packet, I mean, they need to pass that on so that they can make those decisions. I think material items are going to be, we'll get informed. Well, we'll get a monthly update from Aaron, obviously, of how things proceed once they start turning dirt. But there's going to be changes along the way, or snags, and some decisions that are going to have to be made. And as long as they're within budget, I think they basically have that authority to do that. But if there's a major budget wrecking type snag, we can get some updates through the Friday reports and different things and where we're at. But just trying to get everybody on board as we move forward into these next phases. And then kind of how we're going to, I think there's been some are we going to circle back with some of the priorities on, depending on once we bid it out, you know, if funds are available, what we'll add? I know there's been a lot of things on the report, I guess, that identify different options, but the only one we've added so far is the multi-purpose room. I think we're planning to come back and have kind of a presentation to prioritize those, weren't we, Aaron?
Yeah, and I think that's where I've been talking with Account Gorn and DLR about the timing on some of those and how to best handle whether certain items are put in as bid alternates, or whether we make a decision prior to the bid to, you know, and make it part of the project. It kind of depends on which item we're talking about. So I think I need to finish that conversation with DLR and then go through that list again with Lauren and his staff. And then I think at that 50% mark is when we make some suggestions of at least what the district's priorities are.
Okay, that'll be at that next meeting. But in the meantime, we were just kind of wanting to visit, make sure everyone was on board with kind of the flow of Aaron and Lauren making the decisions as we move through the project, you know, as it's designed. I guess I'd ask the board, you know, think about anything, concerns or information or things that you might want, just so we can make that process as smooth as possible, because we won't be able to necessarily call a special board meeting every time to make all these decisions. I think they need the authority to, you know, make a lot of those decisions.
Yeah, and I think, as I mentioned, the next step from a project team presentation standpoint is at that 50%. And DLR is actually planning to put together a full 3D fly-through video for the board, kind of like they did with the gym, but it would be of the whole project. And that's really just to give you a better sense virtually of what it's going to look like. But knowing that, you know, it's not actually asking for any type of approvals at that point. They are feverishly working towards buttoning up all of the design details around the design development package that was approved. So, yeah, I think as we go through these next couple months, it's really, it's not really any more, I guess, design decisions being made that the board hasn't already seen, unless something, you know, totally new comes up, and at that point we'd make the board aware. So I think it was just making sure that everybody understands that the construction document phase and how it's moving forward, and there will be that one more presentation, but it should conform with everything that's already been seen and approved.
I mean, if anybody has any questions or input, I mean, obviously you can always reach out to Aaron and Lauren, and I've just suggested maybe he circuit, you know, whether one person's hearing something from the public or has a thought about some of the project, and he can cycle that back, accumulate that out, and as part of the Friday report, just kind of like get everybody an update of any input that's going on and discussions that are being had, just so we're all kind of in the loop, since all the meeting restrictions and requirements, but we can still be informed of everything. So that's kind of what we've tried to discuss. And again, if you have any questions or thoughts, please don't hesitate to bring them up.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've been building a school.
I think any comments or concerns are welcome. I think it's like Jim said, just want to make sure that when we get to the final GMP presentation. Again, it should conform to, design-wise, should conform to everything that the board has already seen and approved. So it's really more of a budget approval at that point. And, you know, it's hard bid, solid numbers. So if we want to get any comments or concerns addressed before we get to that point.
All right. Thank you, Aaron. Any questions? Looking around the room here. I'm not seeing any. All right, Aaron. Well, thank you for your time and update.
That was the shortest board meeting yet.
Well, I guess we just saw you last week, so.
Okay, well, thank you all for your time, and we will see you soon. Bye.
I thought I was supposed to, sorry. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
Stephanie moved, Karen seconded. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Jump into, guess we have no public comment was left in here, but we've suspended that, and we'll talk some more in our at the end of the meeting, kind of about maybe some ideas and thoughts on how we can address that going forward. All right, we'll move on to the reports. Lauren.
Okay, thank you, Jim. And you received my my board report. I'll just kind of go through it quickly here. We did identify some of our major summer projects. Mitch and I have been working on that for the last couple of months. So I listed some of the things that I've given him approval to move forward on. Some of it's exploring options for maybe some HVAC. They've done some painting already that has been really, I mean, they've been painting for the last month already. Even in the old gym, it looks a lot nicer. I mean, this looks cleaner. We are going to be repainting the welding area, which, remember 2 years ago, we repainted the auto tech area, that light gray. So we're going to continue. So the next phase is the welding area. And both of those young teachers are really excited about improving that facility and taking some pride in it. And so that's why that became kind of a priority here in the last few weeks. We are going to repair the football lights as best we can. We know we have several ballast and lights that are out. We don't know which ones. But talking to Capital Electric, they feel that some of it's wiring. It's not just ballast. So that may be another piece of the puzzle of determining what's going on, especially on the southeast bank. That's where most of the lights are out. So we got some issues there. And then we are going to move forward with installing some safety and security lights down at that facility, at the field house, on the bleacher area, over on the storage shed over by the new shot put ring. And so that'll help light that, illuminate that a little bit in the evenings. That'll be a big improvement because we do have all those safety lights or security lights and cameras. We can't see a thing 90% of the time. So that'll be, I think, a nice update. We are very close to budget closeout. Unbelievable. We have another year under our belt. We will be closing out on Wednesday, June 24th. We did all of our year-end projection. We are in really good shape as far as our cash balance carryover. We will be able to refill all the funds, the startup funds. So that's always a good measure of carryover success. So we're pleased that we budgeted and are on budget for all of those funds. We did spend down some cash balances in capital outlay, but I think that's no surprise to the board. you know, we made some pretty significant purchases in capital outlay over the last year and made some improvements, mainly in the, you know, the maintenance area. So that's reflective. But anyway, we're getting ready for that, and I'm anticipating our budget closeout to go very smoothly this year. So it was good. Lori has done a really nice job of working with that, and has really, in a short period of time, really come to grasp and have great control over the budget and has a good understanding of it. So that really helps.
Will we, I mean, we'll restart all the funds, any extra? Will we, I mean, I know there's an option where we can put that.
There will be, we're using almost all of it for restarting funds. As far as transfers into capital outlay or any of those, there'll be some, but not that much. I was thinking maybe we would transfer 50,000 or so back into capital outlay, you know, to build that fund up a little bit. But most of it's going to go back into restarting fund lines. You know, it could be titles, special ed is a big one, food service, all of. So I think we're in good shape. I did pass out that information. You have a little map there that I just received this afternoon on the transportation and maintenance building. As you know, we had a pre-packaged zoning meeting a few weeks ago. There was considerable discussion about alternate access to a parking lot in the area that we've designated over by just south of the water tower. As you know, that is our property. And I'm not exactly sure how many acres are there, but is it 60? Is that close, Chris? I mean, I'm not sure how many acres is south of the elementary.
Oh, I don't know. It was a total of 80 acres. I don't know how much
it's a pretty good piece of property there. And of course, the discussion was how do we, if 12th Street were to close in the near future or in the future, how would we, and if KDOT closes down 12th Street for bus transportation, how would we get to the bus point? So that was the discussion that we've had for the last couple of weeks. This information you just received this evening is reflective of maybe some option that might be possible. I don't know if there's any input from, I mean, I know Chris and Jim have been very involved in this, but Loomis has been very involved. I think the next step for us is to present this to planning and zoning to get it on the July agenda. Would you, I guess I'm asking, is that what the board would like for me to do? Oh, you here.
Yeah, I think I think this project is taking a little longer. Just there's trying to align our desires with the city's long-term planning plan and try to incorporate and get on board with each other. So I think this information is kind of a product of the discussion Lauren had with the city. We were thinking that Chris and I may join him and have another meeting. There's a lot of questions about 14th Street and how soon that may happen, and 12th Street and some, you know, what the cost and impact to some of these things are. We all know we have some traffic issues down there or up here between the middle school and the elementary, and I know the city's seems to be pretty concerned with the buses, but I think further dialogue is needed, and we're going to have to kind of pursue some other options for busing storage in the short term until we can kind of iron some of this out.
I met with Jill Keatsman last week, and we had those discussions about Plan B. She's been very cooperative and understands the situation. She's temporarily being housed in the middle school. We're going to have to disperse the red vans some way to alleviate some of the parking out here. We'll have to come up with a plan for the extra buses. Probably about 15 of the buses will be going home with drivers and staying there, and another 15 we'll have to find a good spot for them and still leave enough parking here at the middle school. So it's a process, and we'll make the best of it. And, with Jill's support, and I think even with Mitch Loomis giving us some help, we'll look at some alternate plans. Going to have to, I think.
Your thoughts on the plan, Tony? It looks like there's 3 options for streets. Do we go in with our preferred option, or do we go in with a variety of options? And then secondly, do we need to get some cost estimate on the streets and just even see if it's a possibility before we bother? I mean, zoning, I don't know if bother is the right word, but
I think some more work needs to be done on this whole project with the city, whether that's, I think there needs to be an understanding of the roads and who's going to, if truly necessary or not, and or if there's other alternatives for relieving the traffic around there. And the cost is a good point. If we can maybe get some estimates preliminarily. I think a lot of things need worked out on this before we can really get it going forward. I mean, Lauren, they've been trying hard. It's not for lack of time and effort. I don't want to portray that. It's just getting everything aligned so we're all on the same page, and it's a cost efficient for the school.
Okay, thank you. We have been meeting on a fairly regular basis with the Tonganoxie Rec Commission. I've been visiting with both Gail Parker and Brad Eccles, and I think we're in a good position as far as the working relationship between the Rec Commission and the school district. As you know, we did a tour of the West Campus a few weeks ago. Several board members were involved in that. That tour went very well. Quite a few members of the Rec Commission were available for that tour and asked a lot of questions and got to see the space, the amount of space. I think the next step is for us to meet with them again and iron out the MOU. I think we're to that point. I think we're very close. So that's something that I think I'll visit with. I think it's Jim, Justin, and Drew are on that committee. So we'll be setting up the time to meet with that group sometime this summer. A lot of questions are always being asked about what about the school year. It's one of the main questions I've been receiving from patrons or staff. And I meet every Thursday with KSDE on the Zoom meeting. And what Dr. Randy Watson told us last week is July 10th is the target date for KSDE to come out with some significant, I wouldn't say advice, but significant, I don't know, recommendations, I guess is a better term, of what they anticipate the school year looking like. And I think a lot of that's going to deal with social distancing, what assessments will look like, and what the expectations are of each school. Are we going to come back face to face? Are we going to come back in alternate morning, afternoon kind of half day? We don't know. And a lot of it's going to depend on if there are any setbacks as we open these phases up in Kansas. But every school district is in basically the same boat. We're kind of a wait and see mode. So you just have to be patient through the month of June. And I truly believe it's not going to do any good to go out and make a lot of plans. It could all change in just a few days' time.
Is there been any discussion about additional early assessments of students coming back, given the potentially varying amount of work they were able to do or focus on, in the last school year, to see where they're at, and maybe some plans to get them caught back up if that's the case?
We have assessments in place for that reason. And every teacher has their own assessment of how they assess students where they're coming in. But we're the same all across the state. We estimate too, so, we all let out at the same time, we had different levels of learning, based on if we had internet access or not, so that's our big recommendation as well.
Okay. So at this point in time, you don't anticipate, so there's a typical or standard level of early assessment. And it sounds like you're saying that would be able to handle without any real significant modifications.
Yes. And there's also a lot of PD going on this summer that different organizations or agencies are putting on about how do we deal with the loss that we have received. It's more significant than that summer loss that we've always had
Right.
here. So how do we deal with that? How do we change our instruction? So there's a lot out there for teachers to take advantage of if they're able. There's a lot of it's free also.
I think the other thing I would add, Drew, is once we know with given more direction from KSDE after July 10th, our administrative team, our building leadership teams will be kicking it into high gear and meeting extra time to address all these concerns, because there's going to be a long list of what do we need to do, or what are our options, what are our expectations. So
when we think about the guidance that we're going to see on July 10th, is it guidance and or is it
I
mandate?
think it will be a playbook. That's why I think they're going to refer to it as a playbook for school districts to reopen, and to try to keep everybody somewhat on the same level, but knowing that the county could have some influence, and maybe even the cities, I guess, on what that looks like. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
So we think that is mostly guidance, not mandate.
I think it's going to be a lot of guidance and support.
I would think the only mandates they would have would be or state assessment.
State assessment.
Anything that has been designated by feds that we have to do for requirements or part of the legislation.
We've already found out that this process with the outside visitation teams that both Tanya and I are a member of, it has been difficult. I sat on one a few weeks ago that I just felt bad for the school that we were visiting, and they weren't ready. It was hard for them to be ready. And Tanya's got ours lined up in the fall. And so we'll be in a better position, I think, by waiting.
Well, I think what we're trying to get done in the spring, so that we have to do this next
Right.
year. But a lot of what we're going to present is spring data. We have spring data, so we're moving ours to fall.
So anyway, it's going to be a very, very interesting process.
I guess one of the things that, and I don't have a better answer, so I'm not throwing grenades, but it seems like waiting to July 10th, the whole month from now, that we could do things, but obviously we don't know what those things are. That makes it hard, so I get all that. But is that wait and see approach, does that align with what other districts are doing as well?
No, it's aligning with what all Kansas districts are doing. It may not align with what all states are doing. Yeah, but yes, because when I have a phone call on Thursday with Dr. Watson, there's about 280 people on that Zoom, and most all of them are superintendents, assistant superintendents, and we're all hearing the same message.
Is there a concern with that? What might be about 5 weeks after that? Is there feedback like that's, there's people worried about that, or is that everybody's just?
My thoughts are Greenbush and KSDE will give us a ton of support in a short amount of time. And we're going to have to rely on our administrative team leadership, our building leadership team. We may have to bring in our staff for a couple of professional development days just to get them caught up prior to start of school. We've talked about that. So it's going to be a quick turnaround. Am I concerned? yes, but I also have a lot of faith in the people that we're going to be working with. So we'll be, I think, just a different world. So, okay. Okay, my next item is graduation plans. And I think, did you all receive that text from Mr. Farrar?
On social media, I don't know if the text went out.
Okay,
but
he put it,
it's been on social media.
Put it out there. So we have come to a contract with Children's Mercy Park for June 30th at 6 p.m. And obviously we're excited to be moving forward with this process. I think it'll be a great day. There's going to be limits on social distancing and the number of people, and there's going to be people that are going to help control those numbers at the gate. And so we'll let the board know what our responsibilities are, helping with the program. And, from what I'm hearing is we'll be down on the turf. They'll have a stage set up, and kids will be on the field, and everybody will be up in the stands, social distancing. And so they're going to have the big video board running, and so that'll be pretty exciting for the kids, and they'll be able to run their program with their graduation pictures, how that all works. But this is a one-time opportunity. This isn't going to be an annual event by any stretch. So we're looking forward to it, though. I'm glad we were able to get to this point, and I think it'll be a real positive for those kids. They're excited. And as you also know, I did hand out a little bit of information about negotiations. We'll be talking about that here in just a few minutes in executive session. And then next month, just because of the situation, both from KSDE and from our staff, we'll be doing handbooks just a month later, both our board policy and handbooks. And I would say, as soon as I get the KSB policy updates, I think they're probably coming soon. Would you say, Audra? What I'd like to do is meet with Drew and whoever else and have that quick run through so that we kind of cut down on some of those questions and move that process along. I think a pre-read really helps with everybody.
Yeah, I think we set up a committee or had some volunteers, but I don't know.
I can't remember who was all on that committee. Drew, I know is. It's the review of the KSP policy updates. I thought it was. Okay. And I think that's all I have.
Hey, we might, while you were talking, the rec commission, you did visit with them they inquired about using some of our space for our meetings, and I mean, to continue to build that relationship with them. I mean, I
think it's the third Thursday of each month is when they have their meetings, and they'll be having them in the library here until West Campus, till they are able to move into West Campus.
I think they enjoyed the space over in the West Campus after we did our tour, and they thought maybe they could see if we could do that more often. So since that won't be available, we find them a home somewhere here.
Yeah, we were approached by Gail Parker, and he asked if there was a possibility they could host their meetings. They just needed some extra space. So I think it was a good working relationship. Thanks for bringing that up.
Any other questions for Lauren? Not? Tanya?
Well, we covered most of what I reported on as well, but the only other thing I wanted to add, we are adopting social studies materials this year, which is excellent timing for, different things going on around the nation right now. So I'll be bringing that information to you at the July board meeting, and we'll move forward with that. It was our time to adopt social studies, so we had the whole year where teachers have been looking at materials and attending sessions, and then when COVID hit, we had Zoom sessions with the reps, so that was a unique experience that all of our elementary and then our social studies middle school high school teachers got. Pretty fascinating for them to do a demo, and then we had a Q&A. So we've had quite a few months of looking at materials, so we're ready to move forward.
Any questions for Tanya? Did the survey, you got the survey back and are kind of
I do.
assessing
I've
that?
had- Within the last couple of days, I've had a few more student responses. I have not collated that yet, but I will do that and then give that. I don't, maybe we'll send it out to the board. I don't know if it's something we want to address in a public meeting because we'll be using it for planning purposes only.
Yeah, I figured it. I just was curious how that was going more than, I guess, really the results.
Yeah, I was surprised that I've had a few more trickle in this past week, so that's it's definitely ready to be done.
All right. Any other questions? If not, we'll jump into action items. Item 5.1, this was on the agenda, the preliminary item last time. It's motion to non-renewal of teacher contract. Is there a motion to approve action item 5.1?
Move to approve action item 5.1.
Is there a second? Chris seconded. Justin moved. Is there any discussion, questions? If not, I'd entertain them. I guess all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Sorry, here I'm trying to hop around on my board docs and get through everything here. All right, the district branding information. Mark, are you on? I don't know if you want to provide any update on this information.
Yeah, I'm on. I sent it to, I believe, all of you. I hope you got it. I think the biggest change we made was to set a beginning date for July 1st. So I think that's what we did.
All right. I know there was only a few kind of adjustments to this. I didn't pull out all my notes. I don't know if everybody got a chance to look at this or has any questions for Mark. If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve action item 5.2.
Make a motion to approve action item 5.2, approval of the district branding.
Chris moved, Justin seconded. I guess maybe I'll go to the raise your hand to vote so that I can see everybody now. So all in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Motion carried. Action item 5.3 is the republishing of the budget, as Lauren discussed, due to the parent-teacher organization education program. I'd entertain a motion, unless there's any questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve action item 5.3.
Make a motion to approve action item 5.3, the approval to republish the budget.
Is there a second? Chris moved, Stephanie seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Then action item 5.4, I think that's just the annual authority to allow Lauren to close out the budget. So is there a motion to approve action item 5.4? Is there Stephanie moved, Karen seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, motion carried unanimously. And then action item 5.6 was amended in the agenda, and I sent that out later this afternoon. Sorry for the late notice, but we received this from KSB today. Since we have the meeting, Lauren and I had kind of started a conversation Thursday or Friday about what we should do from a district standpoint. Looked at a couple statements of our own, but was really going to wait for the board meeting tonight. And I think we can talk a little bit more later about some other plans and things related. But given all that's going on in the nation and in the area relating to race and injustice, I think this would be a acceptable statement for the district to adopt. in support of the other schools in Kansas as well, coming from KSB. But I don't know if there's any questions or thoughts on that from any of the board members. If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the action item 5.6. Is there a second? Stephanie moved, Karen seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, motion carried. We'll allow Lauren and we can publish that where we need to, I guess, on the district website. All right. At this time, how long do you need? Do you need like 10 minutes? Or? Yes, I would move that we adjourn into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel matter for 10 minutes. And do you want anybody else to come in with well, Tanya and Lauren to come in with us? So it is 6:51. I guess we will adjourn until 7:01. All right. I guess I'm still on here. Call the meeting back to order following executive session. I don't believe there's any action items out of an executive session. We'll move on to general board discussion. Sorry, let me jump into my as we approved the KSB statement on related to race relations and things and the things going on in the nation. I said Lauren and I started a dialogue Thursday or Friday kind of about how the district respond. I mean, I guess if anybody's upset that we didn't put out a statement soon enough, they can probably point their finger at me, because I thought since we had a board meeting on Monday, it'd probably be best for, you know, some sort of conversation to come through the board before Lauren and Tanya or anybody took any kind of an action out there. We've done a little bit of brainstorming and what can or can't we do. And I think probably most of you are aware there's a couple different petitions floating around the community from some of the, I call them maybe the younger, I think they were past students or current students. At least I've seen two. But what I thought was maybe we develop some sort of a board committee that could work with the admin team to discuss some of these items, to come back to the board as a whole. I think maybe we should, positive step would be to reach out to some of these petitioners or people that have some concerns. I think in this whole situation, I guess a little bit that I've learned and tried to pick up on is listening is kind of a big part of the process to start any change. You know, maybe that's involving some sort of solicitation of feedback from patrons as well, not just the petitioners. You know, we usually have some sort of a strategic planning meeting coming up in July or whatever. I mean, I think this would be a strong topic to consider including in that this year as we move forward. And, you know, there's always the opportunity to, Tanya mentioned the social studies curriculum is being looked at, and what can we do to kind of be part of the solution through the educational process. I mean, the school is a valuable part of the community. But those were just some things that came up through the discussions that we've had. I want to kind of share that out with the board, any feedback, see if there's any interest in being part of a committee, and you know, kind of what we can do to, I guess, be a leader in the community overall.
I'd like to ask Mr. Farrar to kind of chime in here, because he and I have visited extensively on this all weekend and this morning, and he had some really good ideas on some things that we can do when we get students back. So, Mark, if you're available.
Did he stick with us?
He's there.
Yeah, I'm here. I think it's like Jim mentioned, I think it's just really important for all of us to learn by listening. And is there always opportunity for improvement? Absolutely there is. And I think it's just important that we come at this with that mindset. Nobody thinks they're always right. And I think that as a school and as a school district, we have that opportunity right now. And I know I can only speak for the high school, but we're going to put ourselves in a position to listen and to learn and to grow in the right direction.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I tried to put some stuff out earlier. I know that's not really an action item. It's just for discussion for future, but if anyone's willing to participate in that or has any thoughts on that or wants to forward those through Lauren so he can cycle that back through on his Friday report and we can, I guess I think I don't really know. I know the overall running of the school kind of falls on Lauren, but the policy and procedures falls on the board. So I think this is where it's important we get more involved maybe in this issue and try to help out the admin team. Anyway, any thoughts or questions, input anyone wants to share? Well, if not,
As long as we have a conversation, I think that's a start. Everybody needs to show up, willing to listen, and understand that we're not always going to see it the same way, but the more we talk, the more we'll come to an understanding and all be a part of that process.
thank you, Karen. I know Kaya wasn't here. I've shared a little of the information with her and said I would follow up with her next week too. So anyway, if everyone wants to think on that and reach out following the meeting or whenever with Lauren, and we can kind of get this something started, I guess. With that, meeting adjourned.